I, the Lord, have called you for justice. I have grasped you by the hand. I formed you and set you as a covenant for the people, a light for the nations, to open the eyes of the blind, to bring out prisoners from confinement and from the dungeon, those who live in darkness. I am the Lord. Lord is my name. My glory I give to no other, nor my praise to idols. I will lead the blind on a way they do not know. By paths they do not know, I will guide them. I will turn darkness into light before them and make crooked ways straight. These are my promises. I made them. I will not forsake them. They shall be turned back in utter shame who trust in idols, who say to molten images, you are our gods. You deaf ones, listen. You blind ones, look and see. Praise be to God always.
A reading from the second letter of St. Paul to the Corinthians. Father, give your blessing.
Glory to the Lord of Paul and the apostles. May the mercy of God descend upon the reader and the listeners, upon this parish and her children forever.
Brothers and sisters, now I myself, Paul, urge you through the gentleness and clemency of Christ, I, who am humble when face to face with you, but brave towards you when absent, I beg you that, when present, I may not have to be brave with that confidence with which I intend to act boldly against some who consider us as acting according to the flesh. For although we are in the flesh, we do not battle according to the flesh. For the weapons of our battle are not of flesh, but are enormously powerful, capable of destroying fortresses. We destroy arguments and every pretension raising itself against the knowledge of God, and take every thought captive in obedience to Christ. And we are ready to punish every disobedience once your obedience is complete. Look at what confronts you. Whoever is confident of belonging to Christ should consider that as he belongs to Christ. So do we. Praise be to God always.
Peace be with you.
And with your spirit.
From the gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ, according to St. Mark, who proclaimed life to the world, let us listen to the proclamation of life and salvation for our souls.
Remain silent, all listeners, for the Holy Gospel is about to be proclaimed to you. Listen and give glory and thanks to the word of the living God.
The evangelist Mark writes, they came to Jericho, and as Jesus was leaving Jericho with his disciples and a sizable crowd, Bartimaeus, a blind man, the son of Timaeus, sat by the roadside begging. On hearing that it was Jesus of Nazareth, he began to cry out and say, Jesus, son of David, have pity on me. And many rebuked him, telling him to be silent. But he kept calling out all the more, Son of David, have pity on me. Jesus stopped and said, call him. So they called the blind man, saying to him, take courage, get up, he is calling you. He threw aside his cloak, sprang up, and came to Jesus. Jesus said to him in reply, what do you want me to do for you? The blind man replied to him, Master, I want to see. Jesus told him, go your way, your faith has saved you. Immediately he received his sight and followed him on the way. This is the truth. Peace be with you.
Praise and blessings to Jesus Christ, our Lord and God, for giving us his words of life. من أجل كلامه للمسيح يسوع التسبيح والبركات.
I have a question for the kids. Do your parents ever give you a chore to do? You get a chore, and most of the time, right, you can do it. Most of the time, everything goes smoothly. But imagine one time your mom says, "Oh, can you go and pick up that box that has stuff in it and bring it over here?" And you go and you pick up the box from the top, not the bottom, and you walk across, and the bottom falls out, right? And let's say maybe Legos in the box, and all the Legos fall all over the floor, right? And so we said, well, I had called you to do something, and for whatever reason, now there's an even bigger mess. And so then our mom and our dad have to come help us clean everything up. And so in this first reading, it says, look, I called you for justice. I formed you and set you to open the eyes of the blind. But then it says, you deaf ones listen. You blind ones look and see. I will lead the blind on a way they do not know. By paths they do not know, I will guide them. So what is he saying? He's saying, I called the people of Israel to be a light to the nations, but instead they chose to worship false gods. Instead, they chose to be selfish. And so, instead of cleaning up the mess, instead of bringing sight to the world, they blinded themselves, right? Instead of cleaning up a mess, they made the mess bigger. And so we have this in the background as we look at the gospel for today. So the guy, his name was Bartimaeus. Bartimaeus. And then it tells us that Bartimaeus means the son of Timaeus. So Bar, that's just a Hebrew or Aramaic word meaning son. Bar and Timaeus. And so it's like calling the guy Junior. Do y'all have any friends named Junior? Or any friends named Trip, right, if they're the third? Or Trace, if they're the third, right? So this is this kind of name, and he's blind, and he is yelling. He's yelling, he's yelling, he's yelling. Now, do you remember, this reminds me of something in the Old Testament. Do you remember there was a guy who got the 10 Commandments? What was his name? Moses. And then the guy that replaced Moses, his assistant who took his place, Joshua. So Joshua is the same name as Jesus. And what is the first city that Joshua goes to? They have a big, tall wall. Jericho. They have this big, tall wall of Jericho. And what the people do, what God tells the people to do, is to walk around the city 7 times, and on the 7th day to walk around 7 times. So that's a lot of laps walking around the block, right? And then at the end of it, they're going to yell. They're going to shout, and they're going to blow trumpets. And then the walls are going to fall down because God is going to make a miracle. So it says in the gospel, they came to Jericho, right? That's the same place. And as Jesus was leaving Jericho, so Jesus, Joshua, Yeshua, it's the same name in Hebrew, the same name. And so you have the same place, you have the same name, and then you have somebody yelling, right? It says the blind man, he sat on the ride, he began to cry out. He kept calling, right? He's yelling. And so just like these walls fell because the people yelled, the walls that were blinding Bartimaeus' eyes fell because Bartimaeus yelled, right? Because that was a show of his faith, and God was able to come in and work this miracle, right? So if you close your eyes and you do this, right, you can't see anything, right? And so then you drop this first wall, you open this other wall, right? Now you can see. And so we have this image of Jesus going to Jericho, starting the conquest. But does Jesus do it with violence? No. Jesus conquers with peace, right? Jesus conquers. He is the one. So in the first reading, it said that the people of Israel were supposed to heal the blind. They failed to do it. So God said, I will lead the blind, right? I will save them. And so we have Jesus coming, God coming to us to pick up those Legos after we ourselves made the mess, right? And so we see this blindness can be a metaphor for something else, right? Because I don't think anyone in here is blind. I'm kind of blind. I can't see that well. But we can see, and so we have this image that blindness stands for something else, right? Sometimes when I look at my brother or sister, I can't see them as a friend, right? I'm blind with rage, right? I'm blind with anger, and I can't see them as somebody that I should love, that I should forgive, that I should get along with, right? Sometimes our mom says, did you not see this mess? Are you blind? Right? We don't notice the things around us, the problems that we're causing. Sometimes we don't notice when somebody is sad or when somebody is angry. We don't take the time to pay for them, sometimes to help them out. Sometimes we don't see how God is working in our life. Right? So if we ever hear somebody say, I never get anything, right? Or nothing ever works for me, or I have the worst life ever, right? That person is blind to seeing the beautiful sunshine, blind to seeing the house over their head, blind to seeing the healthy meal that their family prepared for them, right? There's all these ways that we become blind by sin where we're not able to see with love. And so what are we talking about? What's the summary of all of this? Jesus is beginning to conquer sin. He's going to end his conquest on the cross, but here we see he's beginning to conquer sin. And when we open our eyes, when we stop being blinded to sin, what we will see, like Bartimaeus, is the face of God. We will see the face of Jesus. And in seeing this one that we love, we will be able to see the world and ourselves and our neighbor as it truly is.